Hi, I'm Dr. Stan Gross. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our flagship product, Immune One. This is the result of 28 years of clinical research. It started out really as an analysis of immune function. And in the beginning, our number one concern in research was AIDS. We were concerned that AIDS would be an issue across the board, across the general population. And so we were looking for, and when I say we, I'm talking about the researchers in phytochemistry, that is to say, the chemistry of nature, rather than pharmaceutical chemistry. We started looking at natural substances that keyed the immune system, that actually stimulated an immune response. One of the things we found was beta 1316 glucans. It's found in, of all things, brewer's yeast, and found a lot in darker beer. Well, you'd have to drink a lot of dark beer to gain the advantage to receive what I would call a clinical dosage of beta 1316 glucan. Probably counterproductive. So we looked into the resources, where it come from. It's from the outer hull of the brewer's yeast, and was discovered by Dr. DeLuzio. Spent some time with him, and in understanding the pathway of the molecule, I saw a problem in that if you overstimulated the immune system, it's like having an allergy, right? It's like being too sensitive. That's not what we're looking for. And besides, it only seemed to trigger a superficial response to the immune system. It was effective, but not as effective as I would like it to be. So I went searching, and I looked at things like lactoferrins, for instance, which were really good at stimulating all 9 levels of the immune system, but because it was taken from animal byproducts, from milk in this case, there were antigenistic responses. In other words, it would trigger an unwanted immune response in some people. So I went back to plant life and found oligosaccharides. In particular, I was looking at arabinogalactans. And arabinogalactans stimulate the rest of the immune complex, and it does it without antigenistic interference. In other words, we don't have the immune system fighting itself in order to be stimulated. No conflicts. Well, that's great, but we still have the issue of overstimulating. I wanted to make sure that we had a formula that was safe. In other words, you could take it and it wouldn't cause an allergic reaction. Even though it was stimulating the immune system, I didn't want it to overstimulate. So I introduced N-acetylcysteine, or NAC. NAC is immediately converted to L-glutathione. Well, that's great, because that's the master antioxidant of the human system. And we receive and produce quite a bit of it, but in this case, I wanted to make sure we had even more of it, because it's not like there's a toxic level of it. And number two, I wanted to regulate the Th2 and Th3 receptors, that is to say the autoimmune and the system that's predominantly associated with allergies or overreaction. And it was successful doing that. And then it dawned on me, the 3 substances that I wanted in my formula were very powerful antioxidants. They lowered oxidative stress. And they did so systemically, but they worked on specific types of tissues: blood tissue, lymph tissue, neurological, on and on and on and on. And that excited me, because that meant that we were able to lower the effects of oxidative stress, and therefore the inflammatory response of an overactive immune system. Well, that was big. I also wanted more energy into the cell to get this accomplished, so I added D-ribose. D-ribose, another sugar, also oligosaccharides. In other words, it's one of the sugars associated with the immune complex. And that was very important as well. So now, when I looked at D-ribose, it also carried some of the byproducts, some of the waste, cytokines and immunokines, out of the cell and into the bloodstream to be taken away, either through the kidneys or through the bowel. And then as I looked at the function of everything that's in the formula, everything that's in it thus far also does that. It detoxifies and debris the system of unwanted cytokines or cell fragments. Also wanted something that would go into the sodium pathways, because in the sodium pathways we find lots of pathologies that hide. We find lots of different inflammatory issues that can't be addressed unless you open those channels. So I added sodium ascorbate. Well, ascorbates, that's vitamin C, right? Vitamin C is an antioxidant, it's an immune stimulant, and it also is chelative in nature, that is to say, it detoxifies. So I had a system put together within this formula that performed the same function on a broad spectrum of tissues. So who needs this? Well, the research has been done on dengue hemorrhagic fever in Southeast Asia. Also, some work in malaria. Very promising results, and more results are yet to come. Anyone who's had an immune compromise, anyone whose immune system is down, well, how do you know? Well, if you're in a family of 6 and 3 of you come down with the flu and 3 of you don't, the 3 that don't probably have strong immune systems. And the 3 of you that contracted the flu probably need this. If you're dealing with sinusitis, if you're dealing with overactive immune response, this is also for you. If you find yourself run down for whatever reason, lack of sleep, lack of appropriate diet, lack of exercise, whatever it might be, this is important. And from my standpoint, if we're talking about cold and flu season, mainly we hear about that, in the fall, early part of winter. But there's different viruses all year long. So if you find yourself not feeling on top of the world, feeling a little pinkish, well, this is for you. I know you probably have questions, and I'd be delighted to address them. Please post them on our website. There's a chance in the future I'll be in a city near you. Maybe I can answer your questions directly, and I'd look forward to that. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.